What is the difference between a MAC address and IP address? Before we go ahead, this is an example of a MAC address, medium access control. This one is an IPv4 dotted decimal format. This is IPv6, which is again a hexadecimal but dotted 128-bit. So the first one, which is your MAC, is 148-bit, IPv4 32-bit, and IPv6 is 128-bit. So this IPv4, IPv6 IP addresses, these are dotted decimal or separated by colon with an hexadecimal. Alright. So this IPv4, you can see the decimal numbers separated by dot. But a 128-bit IPv6 is separated by colon and these are hexadecimal numbers. But the MAC address, they can be separated by colon, by a dot or by a hyphen. Okay. It can have three because it depends totally on the operating system, how do it consume and the vendor specific it is. So just assume that this is your house. Now you have a router here. Now router works on the network layer. So here comes the IP. Inside that you are there. Say for example you're using some website and your son is playing some online game. Now the packets are coming from outside and they are going also. So they are going through and coming and going through this router. Now router means IP address because the internet service provider has given that IP to the router. But how to get this website packets? How to get this online game packet? It is through NIC. NIC, that is the MAC address is embedded and that MAC address will tell, okay, which packet has to go to which person. So IP combined with MAC will actually identify uniquely the system on the internet or the network. Okay. So this is IP, which is router specific. The MAC, which is the data link layer specific. It is more closer to the physical layer rather than the IP. IP is more closer to the, you can say, application layer. Okay. Now let us see one by one. Now IP, as I told you, it's more of a software. So this is how you open your settings, network setting in your Windows computer, and you can give your IP. You can give it. It can be obtained using DHCP. The 192.168.10.10. This is a class C IP. There are different class A, B, C, D, E. So this is a class of IP. So this is the kind of software you are giving it, and when you are on the internet, this internet service provider will give you some public IP. Okay, but MAC cannot change. It is unchangeable. So MAC address, it stands for media access control. Please remember, it is not medium access control. It is media access control. So this is working on the data link layer of the ISO OSI this scheme. Okay, this IP address, this is standing for Internet Protocol Address. This is a network layer protocol. IP is a protocol and IP address is way to execute it, is to way to implement it. Okay. So only people saying that IP address is uniquely identifying a system on a network or an internet, no. It has to be combined with the MAC address in order to uniquely identify. So MAC address is a unique address which is already provided by the manufacturer. It can be Cisco, it can be Google, it can be HP, it can be Huawei, Cisco. So this is a unique address. All the world, it is unique. There can be no two systems having the same MAC. So the first three part is actually OUI. OUI is the IEEE has given a specific number scheme to the big companies. These are the three first octet. The other three octet is vendor will give that number. When it comes to IP address, it is a logical address. That is it. See, internet service provider has given us ISP. So it is not a fixed number. You can also get it through DHCP. You don't have to, if you're making a LAN, then you have to give certain IP. But DHCP and other way, ISP will give you an IP, public IP. The MAC address, as I said, it is a physical address and it is used to identify a device within a network. But the IP address is doing the same thing, but it is a logical address. It is also identifying a network or device on the internet. Then MAC address, it operates on the data link layer, the layer just above the physical layer. IP address is network layer. MAC address represents the hardware because it is already embedded in the network interface card of your computer. IP address is more of a software which you see here. You can change it or you can get it through DHCP. So the IP address is more of a software. MAC address is a 6-byte hexadecimal address. So 6 byte means 6 8s are 48 bit, and these all 6 bytes or 6 octets are separated by a dot, colon or a hyphen. But in case of IP address, it can be 4 byte. In case of IPv4, it can be 16 bytes in case of IPv6. So 32 bit and 128 bit depending upon the IP version. The MAC address is a string of the 6 steps of 2 digits or characters, and it can be separated by a dot, it can be separated by a colon, it can be separated by a hyphen. So these are 6 octets. IPv4, this is a 32-bit address which I am showing you in the blue, and this is separated by dot, and these are number 192 and 49. These are all decimal numbers. But the IPv6, they are hexadecimal separated by colon. So these are the examples which I already showed you, that this example are the first 3 in MAC is given to the vendor, and last 3 are given by the vendor. IP address, this is an example of class A. If you talk about class full kind of addressing, then 1 to 127 it is class A, 127 to 191 it is the class B, 192 till 223 it is going to be class C, class D, and class E also has range, whereas class D is actually used for multicasting. Class E is for the future research. This is already there. IP also has a class less CIDR kind of addressing, which is a slash with a number that actually gives you the number of ones of the network address. Alright, so I hope you got the idea of MAC address and IP address.